Hello everybody, welcome to It Was Tuesday, despite the fact that it is currently a Wednesday. Thank you for joining me here on a delayed broadcast here, but let's talk about the subject at hand over here that's been taking the FGC internet by storm again for like the 700th time. It's the discussion of should this fighting game be 3 out of 5 instead of 2 out of 3. And now with Street Fighter 6 coming out, we are all talking about this, and I kind of want to talk about this from a very, very logical standpoint because, again, we don't know anything yet, right? We don't know anything. So let's talk about this from a very logistical, dispassionate kind of method over here. We don't know how fast Street Fighter 6 is going to play. It has very high damage, clearly. We have seen that at this point in time. It is very clearly a high damage game, and games like Hyper Fighting, which are, you know, obviously Street Fighter games as well, similar high level damage. Super Turbo, same kind of thing. We've seen some Super Turbo tournaments run 3 out of 5 just because it's so fast. If Street Fighter 6, God, this is going to be hard. If Street Fighter 6 is indeed super high damage and is fast enough, sure, let's take it to 3 out of 5, right? Whatever, right? If it's not, let's leave it at 2 out of 3, okay? Because here, let's talk about this. First of all, first and foremost, 2 out of 3 versus 3 out of 5. A lot of people argue that 3 out of 5 make sure that the better player wins every single time, and that it gives us a more accurate representation of who should win the tournament. This is a pro for players and a con for viewers, okay? Again, players are most interested in this because obviously they think they're better, and that means that they want to win, right? It's not necessary, it's right, but that's the point here, is that it's a very different skill set. Now, for the audience point of view, 2 out of 3 is something that people like. They like to see the upsets. There is a reason why the NBA playoffs are very popular in one form and March Madness is popular in another form. March Madness is literally best of one single elimination. Nobody really sits there and cries about March Madness not being accurate. What happens is they make their bracket and it's hella fun, and whoever gets the best bracket wins lots of monies in their betting pool. There is a good reason to have both. Having 2 out of 3 to promote more upsets is kind of neat. And as people are in the chat are saying, it's a different skill set. If you can't win consistently in 2 out of 3 compared to 3 out of 5, get better at adjusting, maybe. You know, like, you can actually say that. Get good, right? But, like, you know, oh, sometimes games are so random that you need the 3 games. Yeah, maybe that's true. So, you know, if you count on having a 2 out of 3 to surprise your opponent to win a tournament, and so you don't want a 3 out of 5, you know what? Get good. Get good so you can win 3 out of 5. Basically, get good is the answer to both of them. They're different skill sets. They are different things that you can be strong at, and both of them are absolutely valid. The reason why Co-op Cup is so fascinating is because the matches are best of one. So you can surprise, like, that's why a Remy can beat a Chun-Li, because he just has that great match. Whereas that match is just normally awful, right? But having it as a best of one gives you that opportunity to create that. The team format kind of counterbalances that. So the thing about it is, the argument that going 3 out of 5 is more accurate, you know, then why not go 4 out of 7? Why not go 5 out of 9? All that stuff. It's a moot point. Like, it really doesn't matter. It's just, what do you want out of your event? right? So if you, and again, we should probably just have it so different events run it differently. If one event wants to run 3 out of 5, cool. If another one wants to run 2 out of 3, cool. But of course, what happens is that if Capcom Cup runs it 2 out of 3, everyone wants to do 2 out of 3, so they continue their practice that way so that they have the ability to, you know, play in the CPT environment. So anything officially part of CPT, if they do 2 out of 3, they want to be able to get good at playing in that kind of environment. So most tournaments will go to 2 out of 3 so that they can be CPT accurate, etc., etc. But again, the argument of it being more accurate or not is kind of moot, especially when a lot of people have done the checks. I think somebody said at Frosty Faustings in Guilty Gear, if they changed all the matches to 2 out of 3, that I think they said 87% of the players would have still won their match. Like the actual comeback from being down to 1-2 or 0-2 were very minute. Apparently, only 13%, I think they said, of the matches. So yeah, it can happen, obviously, but as you see, it's not the biggest change. And the thing about it is, 2 out of 3 and 3 out of 5 really hasn't, like, it doesn't feel like it's any different. A lot of times the best players are still winning. Yeah, Tekken is 3 out of 5. MK 3 out of 5 was a mistake. Okay, because MK10 3 out of 5, I can kind of see. Oh, that's right. Tekken is 3 out of 5 rounds, not games. That's right. But MK10, I think, was 3 out of 5 because, as I mentioned in this section over here, MK10 was a very volatile game. MK11 was not, but they kept the 3 out of 5 as legacy when they probably should have changed it. They probably should have changed that one because MK11 is much slower game. Now, so the argument that the better player will win more often in a 3 out of 5 over a 2 out of 3, while valid to a tiny degree, isn't necessarily what we want, right? That might not be what we want if we do exhibitions, Red Bull Kumites, and those are all 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 3, so we can see more players, and so that way we get more accurate player winning. Sure, let's do that. Open tournaments, 2 out of 3. You know, if you can't cut it in 2 out of 3 because you can't adapt in 2 games, get good. You know, like I said, get good. If you need 3 games because if you don't want 3 games because you count on surprising your opponent with 2 out of 3, get good. Whatever. You know, all of it is a different skill. You have different skills to learn. So again, that argument completely moot, right? There's nothing you can glean out of trying to fight for that, right? The other argument, first of all, I also want to say that anybody who says maybe we should try 3 out of 5 rounds for Street Fighter like Tekken, right? Since someone brought it up, no, we can't do that. Literally, Manon and Kimberly become stronger characters in 3 out of 5 rounds. And so it actually changes the balance. Because Manon's medal count does not drop, and because Kimberly's level 3 will give her the power up for the rest of the match, 3 out of 5 automatically strengthens those characters. Not by probably a huge amount, but it's enough. It's enough to actually change the tier lists of those characters. So going 3 out of 5 rounds is not an option for Street Fighter 6. So we're going to have to, if you want to make it longer, if the game ends up being too fast, it's going to be 3 out of 5 games and not rounds. Now, the other argument that a lot of people bring up is that 3 out of 5 takes a lot longer. We don't want the event to run super long and to have people wait, because 3 out of 5 just takes forever and it makes the tournament last a lot longer. So we need to keep 2 out of 3 to keep the tournament as quick and short as possible. This is also a completely moot argument. This argument holds no weight at all whatsoever, because TOs are going to adjust to what the round count is, right? If a TO sees it goes from 2 out of 3 to 3 out of 5, and changes nothing about their tournament scheduling, they're a bad TO. That's it. If you are a TO, you take the average length of a match, you take the number of players you entered, and you adjust the number of stations, you adjust the number of pools, you adjust the amount of time you allocate for the game. The time it takes to run a 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 5 is not a valid argument. What is a valid argument now is cost. Because in order to get 3 out of 5 to run in the same amount of time as a 2 out of 3, which is entirely possible, it's going to require more stations, more judges, and more people to be able to manage it. You're going to need more floor space at your event to make sure you have enough room to run all of these things. It becomes a cost problem. So yes, and time equals money, exactly, from what War Destroyer says in the chat here. So when we argue about 3 out of 5, 2 out of 3, it's not how long is the tournament going to take, is how much does this ramp up the cost for the TO? And TOs are already not making a lot of money. So if you want to argue that 2 out of 3 is better because it runs faster, the argument is not that it saves time. The argument is that it saves money. That is the argument right there. Because like I said, no TO worth their salt is going to try to squeeze 3 out of 5 into a 2 out of 3 time frame. You know, if they do, they probably had no choice. They can't afford new systems. They got to put a cap, right? That's going to be something that you're going to see at locals and stuff. They'll put caps on events a lot more. Those are the things to consider right there. But for major tournaments, it is the cost. It is the cost. Right, the people are arguing are not considering the TOs. This is the biggest issue right there, is the cost. And then on top of that, the third argument, which is the one that I always bring up, which is actually going to be almost the exact same thing as the second argument, is that 3 out of 5 gives us less variety on stream. We will see a total less amount of matches on stream than if we won 2 out of 3, unless, of course, Street Fighter 6 turns out to be the super fastest game in the world and 3 out of 5 actually runs at the same timing as a 2 out of 3. If that's the case, whatever, we're all happy. I don't think there's a single person out there that would argue let's not do 3 out of 5 if Street Fighter 6 turns out to be the goddamn fastest game in the history of fighting games, right? If that's the case, 3 out of 5, let's do it. Go. But if it does take a little bit longer, but the players demand this and this is what they want, and then, CPT goes 3 out of 5 and everybody capitulates to this, we are going to see less matches on stream. And so we are going to miss a lot more key matches. The match that Daigo got eliminated or got sent to loser's bracket because he got upset by person who's not the greatest but is okay, like that upset is not gonna. So like, for example, Idom versus Ryan Hart at Evo, right? There's a chance that Ryan Hart upsetting Idom and putting him in the loser's bracket won't get streamed if we're running 3 out of 5 because you can't put as many matches on stream. Now, a lot of people have been talking to me about, well then, run a second stream. That solves the problem. Or, hey, have you seen what Smash Scene is doing? They're doing a cool thing where they put 4 matches on the stream at once, and you get to watch whichever one that you want to pay attention to. Very similar to what I've done with SoulCal Distancing, where I had 2 matches on the stream at the exact same time. Sometimes I actually had 3 matches going on at the same time. And yeah, that's absolutely an option. Again, money. Again, that costs money. You're hiring another person to fly out to the event to bring all of their streaming equipment, all of their redundancy equipment, and you have to pay them for the time to stream and probably pay for their food as well to do that. To do the 4 streams at the same time, you might not need a new stream, but you certainly need new equipment. You need to buy a bunch more stuff to be able to facilitate something like that. It's always going to cost more money to do all these things. So again, everything typically comes down to money. Look, the sad part of the world is that money solves everything. All right? If we wanted to run the tournament 5 out of 9 the entire way, we could do it. It's just money. Bigger venue, 5 times as many stations, 5 times as many streams. I am a billionaire. Let's do it. I will do it. Not a problem. It all comes down to, can you afford to do that? And is that actually fun to watch, honestly? Is that fun to watch? Do we really want to see? Because here's the thing, right? 3 out of 5 also makes it so that, you know, beginning matches a lot of times are going to be even less interesting on stream when you get the Daigo versus Joe Blow, right? And again, I'm not trying to be mean to Joe Blow, but like you just might be really bad and Daigo's going to wash you 3 matches in a row. Is that fun to watch? I don't know. Yeah, and that's the thing too, right? Obviously, the 4 thing is real estate. Everything is going to be smaller. Some of the people that I've been talking to have said that they've watched the streams do that, and when it happens, everybody seems to really like it. Nobody seems to complain. When I did it for SoCal distancing, not a lot of people seem to complain, but nobody's really watching that anyways for tournament reasons. Dude, I was a stream runner at Evo for DBFZ. It was torture to watch 2 beginners play a match at Evo pools. Yeah, it can be rough. And again, not trying to be mean to those people, but, you know, the compromise of 2 out of 3 a lot of the ways, and then 3 out of 5 later on in the bracket is usually a pretty decent compromise. I saw someone in the chat mention, why not just do 3 out of 5 on winners, 2 out of 3 on losers? That could definitely work as well. You know, there are compromises out there, but again, do we necessarily need it? That's the question, right? So again, the main argument for 3 out of 5 is for consistency, right? If Street Fighter V runs really fast, then also, I mean, here's the thing, right? No game out there runs faster than Vampire Savior. There is not a goddamn fighting game that runs faster than Vampire Savior. I don't care what anybody says out there. That is the fastest fighting game in the history of fighting games currently that people play and actually have tournaments for. They still run that thing 2 out of 3. And I always ask them too, why don't you guys do 3 out of 5? And they're like, whatever, whatever. We'll just do 2 out. Dude, Vampire Savior is way faster than Dive Kick. Some dive kick matches can actually last quite some time. Vampire Savior is silly. You can get a whole 2 out of 3 set in the 2 minute and 20-second time limit of Twitter for Vampire Savior in a very close and extended match, dude. It's ridiculous. Vampire Savior is ridiculously fast. But again, they don't even run it 3 out of 5. Because again, the argument for 3 out of 5 is largely just we want the results to be more accurate, right? Even the Vampire Savior crew in a game as volatile as Vampire Savior is like, whatever, our results are pretty damn accurate going 2 out of 3. That's really the only argument for it. So even if Street Fighter V ends up being a super fast game where people die instantaneously, that's still not necessarily an argument to move it to 3 out of 5, except for we just want to see these guys play more often. Like if Daigo goes up against an IDOM and let's say IDOM just smokes him in game number 1 and then, you know, and it's like 15 seconds long, and then game number 2 is like, you know, 40 seconds long. You're just like, that kind of sucks. We should see more matches between them. If the game ends up being fast, just to get more content and just to get to the point where we get to see 2 people fight for a longer period of time, for enjoyment factor, that's an argument. A lot of other games move to 3 out of 5, like Marvel, because of volatility, right? So like you can just get really unlucky in a match and lose the whole entire thing because you get TAC infinited to death, or an MVC2. Like I mean, MVC2 doesn't even run 3 out of 5, right? And that one you can get Iron Man to death, etc., etc. Oh, thank you, Pakis Nikandreos. Thank you very much. But honestly, the only argument for 3 out of 5 over 2 out of 3 that, in my opinion, are valid are, I want the results to be more accurate. I want it so that the better player wins all the time. My counter argument to that is that's not always great for the audience. That's great for the players. It's not great for the audience. I am not saying which way I prefer, because it's not about me. I don't care. I'd rather do what's good for the community. But that's the point. That's my counter argument to that. The other argument is we just want to be able to have these super fast matches last long enough that we get our fill of these two going up against each other. And I think that is the most valid argument. If Street Fighter 6 ends up being so fast that a match ends up being like we only get to see two great players go out against each other for a total of 1 to 2 minutes on average, yeah, let's make 3 out of 5. That is the most valid argument out there. But outside of that, everything that everybody talks... Oh, okay. Last argument in favor of 2 out of 3 over 3 out of 5 is we're fucking broke. We have no money. And we can't afford to do it. Sorry. That's the other argument, okay? If we had infinite money, it's not a concern. But clearly that is not something that the FGC has the benefit of. How did this start anyway around Street Fighter 6? The usual way. One person saying like, man, I've been playing this demo. These matches are so fast. We should go 3 out of 5. That's it. It's all it takes is one person to say that. That's all it takes, one person to say that, and that's it. So that's it. That's it. That's like the whole argument at this point in time. Everything that everybody's been blabbering about is yes, there's more accuracy. But again, do we want that? Do we want that to prevent upsets? Do we want to make it harder for upsets to happen? The players will say yes, of course. Viewers will probably say no. And then, do we want to see more matches on stream? The audience will say yes. The players will probably say no because they want to have that accuracy. And that's just really what it comes down to. But the time argument is not realistic is not a realistic argument because it's just about money. Right? It's can we afford to make it 3 out of 5? Not do we have the time to run it. We'll always have the time to run it. It's just it costs more money. And so that's just basically how it goes. So, but that's all I have to say about this topic here. So again, I'm trying to approach it from a very pragmatic point of view. I'm not trying to argue one way or the other. I'm just trying to present the argument in as realistic and as logically as possible. I'm just I mean, again, you know, the game's not out, but a lot of people are playing the demo, you know, Ryu and Luke. And I mean, the thing about it, this is what happens when you have a game where you start with a full meter, right? When you start with a full meter, it's just like, okay, round 2, fight, you have 3 bars. Roundhouse, you know, drive cancel. Roundhouse, drive cancel combo into this thing, into level 3 super, and they've already lost 70% of their life with like 7 seconds off the clock. You know, it's realistically going to happen. So a lot of people playing the demo are saying that their matches are going super, super fast. So if that's the case, absolutely, let's increase it to 3 out of 5. Again, I'm not against it. It's just going to depend on the game. Honestly, it's just going to depend on the game. But the main thing that I just wanted to establish is all the things that a lot of people are not taking into account, such as you'll see less matches on stream, or it's just going to cost the TOs a lot more money, because that's the main one that people are ignoring. Nobody is talking about the fact that 3 out of 5 just costs the TO more money. Like, there's just no ands, ifs, or buts about it. Going to 3 out of 5 for a game costs TO more money. So, any case, that's all I've got here for today. Seems like we're gonna have a pretty short episode for this week here, but again, sorry again that we had to postpone it for a day. But thank you everybody who has been watching all the content on YouTube. Hope you guys are really enjoying it and having a good time with the content there. I'm trying my best to make more content that you guys are willing to sit around and watch. If you have watched all the way through up to this point, please leave in the comments below what you would like to see me do more often for content here on the It Was Tuesday podcast, and really hope people enjoy that. For those of you on Twitch, don't go away just yet. I'll have a little bit more to discuss when we come back. I have one more topic to talk about. But for those of you on YouTube, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for always hanging around here and, like I said, just enjoying my content here. And please make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. And, if you can, if you want to, help support me financially here on Twitch by subscribing. If you don't have a Twitch account and you want to support me, I do have a Patreon out there. Chen TV has a Patreon out there, I should say. I'm not doing anything with it yet. I'll figure out a way to do it. There's also just ways to donate directly. So again, any sort of subscription, donations, Patreons, whatever, all that stuff really help me be able to keep doing this and to keep creating content. And with Street Fighter 6 on the way, I've got a lot of stuff that I want to do, and having financial security is going to make it a lot easier. So thank you guys very much. Whoa, what the heck? Did you just gift 100 subs? Wait, no. That's a typo, right? Is that a typo? That's a typo, because 10 names didn't come out. They did 10. Oh my God. That's got to. Oh my God, that is 100. Holy crap. Oh my God, Omega Bill Murray. Oh my God. Oh my God, thank you. Shit. Wow. Thank you. Holy shit. Thank you so much. Oh my God, that is wow. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it so much. Wow. Okay. Yeah, right? Cat's eating the fancy foods this time. So level 11 hype train. Holy crap. And now Charlie gifting a sub to Omega Bill Murray. Thank you very much. Thank you guys. Wow. Appreciate that, Mr. Omega Bill Murray. Dang. See, Omega Bill Murray, this is what happens. I'm assuming he's only capable of dropping that many subs because he ran through the scenario so many times, was able to steal the money bags from the money guys dropping off the money bags to the bank, right? Because he's repeating the day over and over again. So he was able to do that. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. And man, I don't think there's a better way to end the stream than that. But again, you guys on Twitch, don't go anywhere. But thank you guys very much for watching. Appreciate all the support. And wow, the day that this podcast graced your ears was the greatest day of your life. But for me, it was Wednesday.